Welcome to the RC Motorsport Europe podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Inside EFRA Podcast. In this episode, we're going to be looking through the combined minutes for the 1/8 IC and 1/10 IC and GT8 track categories from the EFRA AGM just completed in Brussels.
Yes. If you haven't been watching and listening to our series of AGM podcasts, we did loads before the AGM. We're doing loads after the AGM as well, with all the information that we've gleaned from that event. So make sure you check out particularly the general meeting AGM to find out the info that we found from there. We'll go through this as quickly as we can. This is not the whole combined minutes of the Nitro Track section meeting, but it is the ones that just stood out to us, ones that we've pulled out that we can talk about. You can find all the rest of them at efra.ws. We will make some mistakes during this. We will get a few things wrong. If we do, then fire us off an email. Just shout at rcracingtv.com. Because, of course, we're not EFRA. We are EFRA's media partner. We're making this podcast, but we're RC Racing TV, and we get things wrong.
Yeah.
So shout at rcracingtv.com and let us know. And we will issue a correction for everything that we have got wrong and try to clear it up. But what we're doing is hopefully shedding a bit more light on the things that nobody ever tends to read, which is the PDFs
Minutes
on the
of the meeting
website.
Yeah. So this is Matt.
Oh, yes. Hi.
And
this is Frank.
yes. We'll get there. Right. So
Yeah.
if you're listening to this and you're not interested in the IC track section,
Can go away.
find one of the other ones that we are covering.
Yeah.
If you're a buggy guy or a 12 track guy, then we are doing those as well.
Yep.
So this one, very quickly, just the preamble. So the chairman, Dan Jones, opened the meeting at 1:30. This is the roll call and the allocations for the various RC federations.
Which means that's the number of places that federation wants at European Championships.
Yes. So this is they went through their section, the minutes of last year's meeting. There's no correspondence received. And then just a very quick report from the chairman. You can read that for yourself in detail. That's the championship results from this year. So here we are. These are what you guys may be interested in the most. We'll start right up at the top. Final race calendar for the 1/8 track 2025.
And this isn't really news, but the dates might be news. Now the dates are kind of semi-firmed up.
These are semi-firm, yes. It's a bit like a Jell-O cake.
Uh-huh.
You have to let it set.
Yeah.
Let it firm up.
Yeah.
And see if there's any complaints or any issues.
Clashes.
We knew where the locations were already.
Yep.
But these are pretty firm dates. But those will be confirmed in the days to come. So if you're watching this immediately after it's been uploaded. Anyway, so the first one, the 8th European Championship, is going to be in the UK at the amazing Halifax track. Always a favorite. It's been some years since we've been there, so very
good to be back there.
Looking forward to that one. That'll be a good one.
That will be good.
John and Muriel have assured us that we'll have a very good time there.
Cool.
The EC40 Plus will be in Italy
Gubbio.
at the lovely Gubbio track.
Yeah.
Again, dibsing that one. The World Championship is going to be in Chile. It's spelled slightly wrong, but at the Cash facility, which is that awesome looking...
Yeah, with the airstrip and everything.
Yeah, that will be very, very cool.
Yeah.
So that is what we already knew.
Yep.
So what we didn't know going into the AGM are where the European Championships are going to be. Again, this is only for 1/8. So Borg and Bress, which held the 40 plus Euros earlier this year, did a really good job of it. Lots of people had a good time. And they will be hosting I think it's the BMRC is the name of the club. They will be hosting that event. I don't think they have a Facebook page. They have a Facebook group, but not a page. I do believe they have a web page.
There's a great video of the track and all of the team. You can meet them on the video as well.
That is on the EFRA page as well.
Yep.
The 40 plus euros for 1/8. It's going to be at the same place as the 40 plus for 1/10. That is going to be at the Girona track in Spain. So that will be very interesting to see. So there's the applications for the GT8 for 26. We'll get to that. But the Euros for next year in 25 are going to be in Germany in Leipzig. And again, the World Championships for that will be in Chile at the Cash facility.
So they go there in September and then they go back there again in December.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And because it's Southern Hemisphere, should be warm.
Should be nice.
Don't.
Yeah.
Unless it's way up in the mountains, we have no idea. But yeah, that will be. Look forward to that one. The
GT8.
The GT8
EC.
Euros are going to be at the lovely Portugal Villarreal track.
Yep.
That is in 2026. So for 1/10 track, the Euros are going to be at Apeldoorn.
Yep, we know Apeldoorn very well. It's a fantastic facility. ETS consider it to be one of the best tracks in the world. And I was there earlier this year, and it is a wonderful, wonderful facility. So yeah, that's going to be great.
That'll be very interesting to attend. Again, Gubbio 40 plus
shared with the 1/8 track, basically same weekend.
And the 26 calendar. So the locations have been chosen for that. The 40 plus, again, that's 40 plus for 1/10 and 1/8. That will be at Girona, as we said. The World Championships, once again, in Gubbio.
Love it.
So I was there when Greiner won that one. That was a good race.
So was that 1/10 as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And you were there for the 1/10 Electric Worlds as well?
Yeah.
Wow. Basically live there.
I mean, I could. So, yeah. Section 8 is the rules proposal. So again, we're just going to skim through these and talk about the ones that we've highlighted the best we can.
Yep.
Feel free to download EFRA.ws, download these exact minutes.
Read along.
The same file. Read along and just, drop us an email every time. Just live email us. Not really. But, read along, and anything we skip or get wrong, anything we skip, you can read through yourself.
Yeah.
So this one, I thought this one was interesting. Drivers who are ranked within the A-main finalists of age 40 plus of the respective category of the previous year are not permitted to participate in the 40 plus Euros.
This was interesting because it caused some confusion. And it's confusing me again now.
The reason why is because that is the amendment. This is the original proposal.
Okay. Drivers who ranked in the top 20 positions.
So 20. So they've changed that.
Are not permitted to participate in. So they were saying. So people were confused. The top 20 40 plus drivers at the A Euros. So the top 20 ranking 40-year-olds and above.
Yeah.
Can't come to the 40 plus. Which would have been bad, but no, they just mean if a 40. They intended it to mean if a 40-year or older driver happens to be in the top 20 of the Euros A, then they can't attend. But it was, what was it amended to?
They've changed it to the drivers who are, if you're in the A final.
Yep.
And you're 40 plus.
Yep.
You can't race in the 40 plus Euros.
Yeah. So and they were kind of saying basically that would have meant Kalari couldn't compete in the 40 plus, which is fair enough. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think Kalari should be competing in the 40 plus. But Balestri not far off either. But anyway, I don't think he should be there.
We don't talk about Balestri's age.
Do we not?
No.
So there we go.
He's forever young, like Rossi.
And it was passed.
Yes. So this is
everyone
one of those.
Was up for it.
Yeah. This is one abstention, but 13-4. So yeah, this is one of those everyone agrees and it makes sense. This one, basically for GT8, they're adding a 40 plus category, which will be raced at the same event. So basically, it used to be in the old days, there used to be a mechanics race.
Well, there was a mechanics race this year at the GT8.
Was there? Okay. So this might replace that. Because
Yeah, it
usually
was
the
a mechanics
mechanics
race.
are like dads or the 40 plus anyway.
Well, it was full of legends, actually.
Ah, okay.
We had Adrian Bertin, Daniele Alessi. All racing against each
All
other.
the former, like the oldie world champions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic. We need to dig that one out.
I bet.
it.
Well, yeah, we should make it.
It was chaos.
We should.
But we should
it
get
needs to be
that
a
out there.
relapse. So this one. So last year they shortened the race.
Oh, and Burton, or was it Daniele? I think it was. Hang on. One of the two wrecked or damaged because they were driving their driver's car,
Oh dear.
who was then going to be in the A final, and I believe there was some damage done. But there was also
like within an hour or two of finishing the race.
there was also some damage done to a higher car as well. But anyway, we won't talk about that.
Right.
By one of those mechanics. Anyway.
Okay, so this one. So the background for this is that at last year's AGM, so a brand new rule for the 24 season.
Yeah.
The race weekend for this category, Nitro on road, was shortened from Monday to Sunday.
Monday to Saturday.
Saturday? Anyway,
the finals is always on Saturday.
Okay,
for
it
these
was
classes.
shortened by 2 days. So
And there was uproar,
yeah,
as well as an
There was,
outpour
yeah.
of support
there
going,
was actually, yeah.
this saves money,
Yeah.
this is great. And then there was people going, I only have one holiday.
Yeah.
This is now my holiday's been cut short, and I'm going to get there, and I'm not going to do as well as Dario Balestri because I need another 2 days to
Yeah.
figure out. And anyway,
Which in one sense, yes, you might feel that, okay, an additional 2 days of practice on a track I've never been to would be great. And if this is, if it's an Italian track, for example, yes, Dario Balestri will be very familiar with the track and he'll have a base setup going back 10 years at least. So yeah, okay. But basically they amended it so that the race organizer could optionally open the track for those 2 days. But
Yeah.
so now what is now codified in the rules is that there is an unofficial free practice
I think it's good
for
to
the 2 days.
It's important to point out that it turned into quite a good situation, and I'm told people enjoyed it. Like it was a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
It was just it had to be adapted,
Yes.
but it all worked out well.
It got introduced. It needed to be adapted before you actually did the events, and then the events happened. People are fine with it because they're not having to spend every time they go out on the track buying another set of tires for €40 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, so now it's just unofficial free practice, whatever that means for the per event or for the organizer. Whether that means you just go out and race for 2 hours at a time or just 10 minutes at a time or whatever you like. So there it goes.
And it was past 12 and 2 abstentions. Cool.
What else was there? This one, we're already almost halfway through, so there's not a huge amount left in this one. So this one basically adds a 30-minute gap after the last chance final.
Mm-hmm.
And then the main final only will have a 10-minute warm-up period.
Yeah.
So that is, I can't remember where. It's
I
part two.
I don't remember being at a race where there was less than half an hour between the last chance and the main final. But maybe it just didn't say it in the rules, and it had to be spelled out.
Yeah, I think they've added 2 or 3 bullet points or number points here.
Yeah.
They put it in the rules that there is a specific time between those races starting.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before it was just up to the timekeeper.
Right.
Officially.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not a gigantic one, but it was mildly amended. This is the big one though for this event.
Mm-hmm.
Only the driver who is called a technical timeout can work on the car. All other cars must be placed in park for make conditions with the body shell remaining in place on the car.
Yeah, so there has been some tactical. I mean, we talked about we talked about this before,
yes.
and we tend to talk about it when there's a 10-minute delay called. We tend to talk about, if you were in 11th, or if you're on the last place on the grid, then why would you not call a 10-minute delay?
Yeah.
Because you don't lose a lot. But there has been situations where the person at the back of the grid called a 10-minute delay because their teammate further up the grid needed to do some work on their car.
Yeah.
But obviously the teammate further up the grid who's did the work on their car doesn't lose any positions, and the person at the back doesn't lose any positions, particularly has less to lose anyway. And so
so basically, this is a result of what happened in Le Cortotondo.
Okay.
Lamberto Collari qualified, won the last chance final, starting with 11 on his car, starting in 11th place.
Yeah.
Balestre, during the warm-up, clutch exploded.
Right.
His mechanic, I have pictures, picking up pieces of clutch from the pit lane, and had to go and him, Massimo, Mr. Max Power, basically rebuilt his clutch during the warm-up period. At the very end of the warm-up period, Lamberto, his teammate, Dario's teammate, called the 10-minute timeout. That gave enough time for them to finish installing the brand new clutch. And who went out on the track? Dario.
Wow.
And the, shall we say, consternation upon all of the race officials' faces was crystal clear.
And then went on to actually win the event.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
arguably, would he have won the event if he'd have called it in his own name and then been put to the back of the grid? Still would have had a chance.
I mean, very possibly likely. I mean, not mentioning any other incidents that happened in that race, but possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
And then it also further says the driver asking for the delay will start from the end of the grid, 12th position on the main final.
So there is a bit more to lose.
Yeah.
In the old chestnut of why would you not call it if you're at the back?
Yeah.
Well, you further back now. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it was just passed unanimously.
Yes.
Okay.
Because everyone that was in that room that voted was probably there on the track.
Yeah.
This was an interesting one. This one.
Yeah.
So this is in order to prevent engines overheating, which carries an increased risk of engine flameouts and jump starts. The drivers will form up on the grid by means of a formation lap. So normally the mechanics
release the cars,
carry the cars out, and the engines are just wah, 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 just constantly. There's another fuel bottle, and you literally just ram as much fuel into the fuel tank as you can. Close it. You put in a tiny bit more if you can, and then you're off.
Yeah.
But in this case, they'll do a formation lap. So obviously a slow walking pace lap or whatever walking pace is.
Like electric style.
Yes, I think. Mechanics will be released to walk around the track to the starting position once the timekeeper calls 30 seconds. Obviously don't walk across the track. Drivers will drive the cars to the grid position slowly to meet the mechanic, and then you do the lift the car, refuel, put the car down with 3 to go, and then release the car, and then they're off.
Okay, so not like electric. So it's not like they have to drive to the grid and then wait on the grid.
Well, because usually the mechanic is like depending where the track is, but like Villarreal, you'd have to walk across. You starting from across the track. At Le Cortotondo, you're almost right. You're on the pit straight basically. So yeah, it's an interesting one.
Okay. But was it approved?
Well, see, that's why I'm keeping it there. So it's yes, passed.
Okay.
But
contentious. Interesting. I wonder what the objections were, but we don't know.
Yeah.
We did mill about all of the meetings and go into them, but I wasn't there for that one.
Yeah, we did. There were only 2 bodies and different rooms that are all closed off. What else was there? This one. Okay, so this one was an interesting one.
This was the one I was in, and I walked out of because I thought this isn't gonna. The way they were talking, it was like there's no way this is coming off. They were dead set against it, and then they started putting in an amendment, and it just seemed like okay. It's obvious. I don't need to wait here to find out that this didn't go through because it's not going through. But
But so the original proposal is that EFRA will convene, chair, and manage a technical commission who will be responsible for all technical aspects of the rules for the classes described within this appendix. Technical team will be composed of industry experts, manufacturers, and EFRA board members. The decisions taken in relation will be subject to the General Rule 6 and will be embodied 12 months. Okay, and will be embodied 12 months after the rule change is approved by the technical team. The rule changes will not be subject to the AGM.
And that, I think, was the contentious part, where representatives in the meeting were going, so we're basically agreeing to not get a vote on what the technical team say. And that took a lot of back and forth. People were not happy with this. But I think one of the reasons they weren't happy was they were concerned that it would just be manufacturers, or it would just be, the makeup of this technical commission. I think is going to be key, like how it's made up.
There will be that, I mean, like with any
how they'll make their decisions. That's what's going to be interesting. But it did go into, and
so that the remark by now Daniel Jones is the section chairman of this. He's the one who presented it. Now his remark was, it is time to develop rules in a more rational way by using industry experts as well as manufacturers. Now often the industry experts are manufacturers, so now it was seconded by Spain, and this is how parliamentary procedure works. It was seconded by Spain, which meant now people can have their own remarks, because basically they read the proposal. The person who presented the proposal reads their remarks,
does a bit of a pitch for it,
but no one can say anything about it until it's seconded. So it was seconded, and this proposal was passed.
But
however, before it was passed, a suggested proposal and a suggested amendment to the proposal. Let's see, what was changed on this?
Well, at the last line there, it says presentation at the following year's AGM for consideration of the Federation's vote. So that was the bit that would have said, okay, you got your technical commission, now they can do all the technical work, and then they can bring some ideas to us at the AGM, and then we'll vote on them. To which people who were in favour of the technical commission were kind of saying, well, then we're no further forward than we are now, because we're still in this position. And then if you look at what happened to the proposal, it was seconded by Germany,
and then it was voted on, obviously discussed once it was seconded, and then it was overall just rejected. So the amendment was then rejected, and then it goes back to the original proposal, which was passed.
That's what I love, like how the AGM and how these things work. Like they go in spirals, like they go off into a bit of a let's go down this road, and then they're like, whoever proposed it, if they're not too fired up, can go, okay, you guys go down that road, see how that plays out, and then it kind of cancels itself out, because they're like, yeah, but then what was the point in that? And then they come back to the original one and go, okay, let's go with the original. And sometimes it's there's like it's like, okay, well, we know what you mean, okay, so let's reword it just very slightly so it makes sense to everyone who's reading it, blah blah blah. But it should be noted, as we have done in the other podcasts for the sections, the section chairman, in this case Dan Jones, does not get a vote in this. He can only propose it. He can't tell anyone, okay, you really should vote for this. It's he can have his remarks. It can be very persuasive. But doesn't get a vote. And exactly.
So that's
happening, and that is a really exciting move forward.
This is a biggie, and they are going to start. I was told that they will start on 1/8 class first.
Right. Well, because anyone who is listening to this may be in various Facebook groups that are related to this class of racing, and there's been so much discussion over the last few weeks about big problems that this class is facing with issues that it has. So I think they are purely here to address the issues and try and put this class back on track, so to speak.
And there's various things. There's noise,
downforce.
Speed, downforce. There's all sorts of stuff that Yeah. So, we'll see what they come up with. And obviously, they can't, basically 1 year from now, we'll start to see what sort of results they get out of the technical commission.
Exciting times.
Next one. Okay, there's a lot of changes this is that one. Okay, so
oh, cool.
This one, we mentioned it in the podcast. I'm not going to go through the individual things because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But basically, the tire price will be agreed between EFRA and the supplier and published in the Stage 1 report. Change diameters will change diameter to default diameters because on some very high traction tracks, we need the ability to reduce this diameter for racing purposes. That was the case with Loco Rotondo because apparently it was quite a high bite track or a high wear track, and the tires that were provided that decided ages before, they were just a little bit too soft.
Yeah.
And also changing the shores to default shore. Oh, sorry. I'm talking about diameters when I meant shores. They were too soft a tire. So anyway, whilst we need a default guideline, there are certain tracks that require the flexibility in choosing the shore. Added the requirement to order and prepay this practice tires. Stage 1 report will state how this will be done. So I think without discussing it too much further, we can say it was passed unanimously.
Another thing that this means, as another key line in there, is that the price will be agreed between EFRA and the tyre supplier, and the intention is to put a very small charge on those tyres to contribute towards the sport. One of the things, I think initially the whole thing was going to be to contribute towards events like the 40 Plus, which doesn't currently get streamed. Well, if all the tyres that were sold by the controlled appointed tyre supplier, if €1 for each of those went towards the cost of streaming that event that isn't normally streamed, then that would be a cool thing, and it wouldn't hurt any one individual too much. So that was one of the thoughts behind that, and it's good to see that it was passed unanimously.
Yeah, it's
because this
forward.
I have said this many times in the classes, and we see control tyre creeping in 1/8 off road. It's coming into more classes, and it is harder to get investment in media in controlled tyre classes. And that needs to be addressed, and I think that's one of the ways that they're going to address it, by getting the actual sale of the controlled tyres by default to contribute to the media, which is cool.
Yeah. This proposal was about the basically the 1/10 Euro event only will be subject to 2 brands of tires as a trial to see if this method of multiple brands of tires will work. So basically 2 control tires.
Yeah.
A decision on 2026 onwards will be made during the 2025 AGM.
Yep.
This one was rejected very solidly with 3, 4, and 10 against.
Yep. Seemed like an interesting idea, but there was lots of, whichever tyre becomes the most successful, the other tyre manufacturer is basically going to stand there all weekend, not really sell any. And it just gives more work for everybody trying to... Because the point was made that when it's a controlled tyre, you get those tyres and then you tune your car to those tyres. But if you add in a whole another set of parameters of a whole nother set of tyres, that's a lot more work you have to do in the first few rounds of practice. Yeah.
It would have been very difficult to work. So this one, again, on tires. Who knew that tires are so important to racing?
It's almost like they're the thing between the ground and the car.
Yeah. This one is basically, again, I'm using Dan. He always puts a lot of remarks in his proposals.
Which is helpful.
Yeah, very. Because it explains what all of this red is.
Yeah, we're not reading that.
This is basically brings in a new tire control procedure to allow drivers to arrange their tires into run sets and to permit the use of a shore meter for this purpose only. So basically, so that you can put, if it's a a counterclockwise circuit or anti-clockwise, you can put the harder front tire, you can put that 1 in a set of 4 instead of 2 in a set of 4, and kind of messing up your setup or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be measuring, because even though you might get, it says 37 on the package, I'm totally going to trust that.
Yeah.
You check it.
Mm-hmm.
And also this allows marking of control tires. Is now formalized. I guess it's been informal before. So you go, hey man, and so, oh sir, you are a number 42, and you sir are number 37. Anyway, you know what I mean. Not to be weird.
Hello?
What?
That's everybody in the Swedish Federation you might want to contact.
There you go. Okay.
There you go.
So yes, so that was passed unanimously. Everyone
Great.
saw that as a no-brainer. This one, very important one. Aromatic additives are expressly prohibited, and a spectrometer will be used to detect the use of any prohibited additives.
We were quite surprised they didn't use these already.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that this has not been used already. And so, seconded by Italy, which is interesting in and of itself.
Why?
Because they're
What?
There's been lots of penalties given to Italian racers in the past for fuel-related issues.
Okay.
So
You're trying to make friends with Italy and move there at the beginning of the podcast. Anyway.
So also quite interesting with this one, the penalty for the use of these compounds will result in a 5-year ban from all EFRA and IFMAR events.
Wow.
So no messing around with that one.
Yep. No one's got an issue with that either.
Yeah. And what else there? This one, the mildly interesting. Chassis must have a minimum kick-up, basically removing the kick-up because it's a manufacturing cost issue for the GT class. So requested by the chassis manufacturers. And I think that might be, it's definitely one of the last ones. This one is about the GTE category. It's about basically something, this is certainly something that they're going to be looking at. The just battery issues. And the power that is going into the cars, because some classes like Electric Buggy and 12 scale have tons and tons of power available. Not used all of it. I'm probably getting it a bit mixed up there, but some categories are like, well, we have tons of power, but we don't use anywhere near the amount of voltage or runtime that we have. But anyway, it's something that they're going to be looking at for GTE.
One thing I heard in discussion was Dan was suggesting that maybe because the electric element is quite new to this section with the GTE class, that they might literally pick up their meeting and walk into the electric meeting for 20 minutes and then come back again, just so that they can do it quicker with a more knowledgeable electric team. So I'm sure the electric section are renowned for their meetings lasting a very long time. So I'm sure they'll love a little intermission of another class coming to join them.
Well, I mean, with 8th e-buggy as well, it's I think there's.
Well, Carlos seems to take a much more simplistic approach to it, not in that he's oversimplifying, but in that he's just sort of going, Paul from 10th Buggy has basically recommended this, and this. Why wouldn't we do it? There we go, done. Yeah.
But I think that's what Dan wants to do as well.
Yeah.
But I think there's potentially scope for basically putting the electric rules into a different section of the rule book and going for GTE and for e-buggy, because they basically use the same. I think, do they run? No, one runs. I think they both run 7-minute or 10-minute. Anyway, they can just go, okay, for charging rates, refer to this section, this part of the electric rules.
Yeah, a kind of generic electric.
Rates, for this discharge rates. Yeah, but then the electric section of the rules can
apply to multiple sections.
Yeah.
Yeah. Possibly.
So that's.
But no one's listening to us.
No one's listening to us.
We'll see.
Someone can make proposed by some no name. So some of these, I think this is where these electric rules, as you can see, this one's been withdrawn, but I think it's because it's going to be referred to the technical commission.
Yep.
And this one as well. So this one is the maximum cutoff range. It was a suggestion, but now that one's been withdrawn. So anyway,
veto was voted into place to be the vice chair, which is awesome.
Yeah. So Dan, with the 3 sections, actually 4 sections, if you include GTE as a separate section, he's going to need a little bit of extra help. And the meeting was closed at 6:07.
Boom.
Yeah, it's one of the earlier ones.
Excellent.
To get knocked out.
Well, they're the fastest class.
45,000 RPM. Can't beat it.
So cool. That was our take on the Nitro track section. If you want to see everything that there was to see from that section, then go to the EFRA.ws website and look at the PDFs.
Yeah, you can read through the exact file that we just read through, and glean your own information, discuss it amongst yourselves and your racer buddies. If you have any feedback for us, things that we got wrong, send us an email. shout@rcracingtv.com.
Yeah.
And
all caps. Make sure it's in all caps. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, someone here will shout it at us.
Yeah. So, cool. Keep an eye out for the other podcasts. We've got loads of cool podcasts coming, including one with famous European track builder and one with the new EFRA secretary.
Yeah. And the race calendar as well.
And the race calendar.
For 25.
And all the other sections, as well as the general meeting podcasts. So make sure you get your teeth and ears into all of them, and we'll see you very soon.
All right. Bye.
Check out EFRA.ws for more info about RC motorsport in Europe.